Hey everybody, it's time for a brand new series. Today we're playing Pokemon Sapphire for the Game Boy, but we're playing it on the GameCube using the Game Boy player, as you can see right here. And so you can see by the title, I'll be doing a Nuzlocke challenge. I've got loads of things to explain, so I'm going to try and be as organized as possible. And we're going to go through the rules of a Nuzlocke challenge really quickly. The first rule is that you have to nickname all of your Pokemon. Second rule is that you're only allowed to catch the first Pokemon you see on each route. If you see a Zigzagoon on Route 101, you're allowed to catch it, but you don't have to, and then you can't catch anything else from that route. And then the third rule, and probably the most important, is that if a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead, and you can no longer use it. You can either release it, or you can permabox it. The idea is that you can no longer use it. So yeah, that's the gist of the Nuzlocke challenge. There are some optional rules that I'll also be using. I'll get to those in a little bit, but why don't we get started? I'll actually be doing post-commentary for this first episode because I figured it'd be kind of hard to keep up with what's going on in the game while also trying to present this series and trying to explain what's going on. I don't feel live commentary would have added anything in this particular episode. Now, you can probably tell already, I'm not going to try and be overly informative in this series. I'm not trying to present the game, really, even though that's kind of what you're supposed to do as an LPer. Basically, we're focusing on the idea that we're doing a Nuzlocke challenge, and it'll hopefully be difficult. I would hope it wouldn't be easy, but yes. Now why don't I go ahead and find the list of the optional rules, since I was dumb enough to tab out of it. Alright. First optional rule is that I will be choosing my starter based on the last number of my trainer ID. So if it's a 0, I'll be choosing myself. If it's 1 through 3, I'll be choosing Trico. 4 through 6, Torchic, and 7 through 9, Torchic, yes. So there you go. I will not be using Dupe's Claws, believe it or not, even though a lot of people seem to like doing that. Basically, that's like, if you catch a Geodude from Route 1, and then you go into a cave and your first encounter is a Geodude, you don't have to catch it. And then if you see a Zubat, you can catch that instead. And now look at this is great. The first default name here is Sean, and as you may know, my name is Sean, but I will not be using that default name. Just because, like, I know every pronoun in this game is all caps, but I still like to have only the first letter be capital. Maybe that's just me, so yeah. Even though my name is a default name, I just made it lowercase. I always thought it's funny, though, how, like, the first default name is Sean. Alright, yeah, he's already mentioned, this is a world full of Azurals. Everybody makes that joke. Then again, if the world is full of Azurals, then Titan's probably just gonna go and kill them all. Okay, I'm sorry, that's an inside joke, but... Right, a world of dreams awaits us. I'm so excited. Not really, but... Well, yeah, I am excited. I actually am excited for this series. As a matter of fact, since this is post-commentary, I've already recorded the first 4 parts. I did actually try to do live commentary during this first episode, but it didn't turn out very well, so... Yeah, I figured post-commentary would be a much better idea for this. Right, so I explained the rules, I explained the optional rules. I'm trying to think of anything else I really need to explain. I can't think of anything right now. So let's just talk about the game. So we've arrived in Little Root Town. It's a really small town. I never really liked how, like, the first town in every Pokemon game is always so small. Like there's only like 2 or 3 houses in it. It's kinda, I don't know what you'd call it, it's just kinda like lame. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe they're trying to, like, get the message across that it's like humble beginnings, but I don't know. And look, we've enslaved Pokemons. The Pokemons are setting up our TVs, they're moving boxes around, back and forth. See, look at that, he's just walking back and forth. Why can't we do that? We have to make the Machokes do it. If you're playing Emerald, they're actually Vigoroths instead, which I always thought was pointless. Like, why they bother changing it to Vigoroths? I mean, Machokes make a lot more sense, so... As you saw, this cartridge of Sapphire is really old, and so the internal battery has run dry, so in-game time events won't work. That really won't make a difference, I don't think, so I just set it to 3 o'clock randomly. I actually recorded this at like 11 AM today, on the 29th, so everything's put away neatly. Wow, that was quick. That Machoke must have went back and forth like really quickly, so that's good. You should make sure. Oh, okay. Now I actually forgot to get the potion from my PC there. I wasn't thinking. Oh well. I'll probably just buy more later. And as you'll see here, our dad is actually important in this game, which I've always liked how the dad is actually like relevant in this game, because in most other Pokemon games he's just completely irrelevant. And he's actually a gym leader, so that's interesting. One of Dad's. I like how they refer to him as Dad. Like he's not like one of. It's not one of your dads. It's just his name is Dad. And later on, once they get him in the little phone book, his name is actually Dad Mormon or Dad Mormon. Dad Norman. Yes, his name is Norman, not Mormon. Right, so now I think we have to go into the rival's house after I set my timer. See, look, the little Game Boy player comes with its own timer. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. So yeah, I'm still trying to think if there's anything else I really need to explain. I guess I'll go ahead and say that the first 3 episodes coming up here, the mic was a little bit farther away from my face than usual, so I might sound a little bit quieter for whatever reason, so... Yeah, actually, if you have any notes on the volume of my videos, then please say so in the comments, because I've always worried about having my videos too loud or too quiet. So, yeah, I mean, you can just edit the volume yourself using the little YouTube thingy, but still, I like to have it at a reasonable volume, so... May gets her own room, her mom doesn't, she lives in the kitchen, I guess. Pokemon fully restored. She healed her Pokemon using the PC? What? No, she healed them using a book. I want this technology. I just want to carry a book around and heal my Pokemon. It'd be great. And this is May, and she's glad to meet us. Man, she better be. We're probably the first person to move into this tiny town in, like, years. How is this even, like, how... Like, 2 people live here. Probably not even. Actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, before we moved here, there was only one family. That was May and her mom and dad. So would it really even be considered a town? I don't know, but... Whatever, May's going out to Route 104, I think, and now there's trouble afoot. That guy is not where he's supposed to be, and he has blue hair. And Professor Birch is being tackled by a Poochyena! This is terrible. What a wimp, being tackled by a little Poochie. In my bag, there's a Pokeball. Now, instead of grabbing all 3 Pokeballs, we can only catch 1, but as you can see, the last number of my ID is a 5, so I'll be using Torchic. I was actually kind of sad about that, because... Well, I mean, this is probably the only generation where I legitimately like every starter, but I really didn't want to use Torchic, simply because I had just used it in a Sapphire Nuzlocke I did recently. And also, everybody seems to choose Torchic, so... Yeah, it's just a personal thing, I guess. And here I checked its nature, it's Rash, which I believe is high special attack and low special defense. I'm not too sure on that. But there you go. I kinda, like, I prefer to have neutral natures in game playthroughs. Unless it's like Adamant or Modest, which is just great, depending on the Pokemon. Now, one thing I should bring up, since we did just encounter this Poochyena, there's another optional rule that I will not be going by that says that the challenge doesn't start until you get your Pokeballs. So, for example, the fact that we got our starter on this route would be irrelevant, the fact that we just encountered a Pokemon would be irrelevant, and if we had lost in our rival battle before we got Pokeballs, that would also be irrelevant. But I will not be going by that. The challenge has already started, and not only have we encountered a Pokemon on Route 101, but we also got a Torchic there, so any angle you look at it, I will not be catching a Pokemon on Route 101. Now, I might get lucky on Route 103 and not encounter a Pokemon until I get Pokeballs, but I'll have to wait and see on that. And also, one of the... I don't know, like, it's kind of hard to measure how much of a rule the whole nicknaming thing really is, but I will be nicknaming all my Pokemon. If you... That's my chair creaking. If you have any ideas for what I can nickname my Pokemon, then say so in the comments, wherever YouTube puts them by the time this is uploaded tomorrow. So I decided to call this thing Mr. It takes me forever to do this. Mind you, I'm doing this, I did this with a joystick, so it was kind of difficult. It's easier with a D-pad, which, now that I think about it, I probably could have used, but whatever. The D-pad on the GameCube's useless, so I call him Mr. Hugs. I figure that's a good name. If it was a girl, I wouldn't know what to call it, because Mrs. Hugs sounds kind of weird. If you work at Pokemon to gain experience, I think you'll make a red arrow. I'm thoroughly looking forward to that. Don't worry, Professor Birch will be the best person, the best red arrow. My kid May. I like how they referred to her as a kid, because like they didn't want to change dialogue if you were a boy or a girl. Because like if you're playing as a girl character, then the rival's a boy. So he refers to his child as kid instead of my son or my daughter. It's his kid. Right, so our first encounter on Route 101, assuming we had Pokeballs, would have been... little pause, it would have been a Zigzagoon, which I'm okay with, because Zigzagoons are surprisingly helpful. They have the ability to pick up, which we can use to get items, and Zigzagoons pick up surprisingly good items. They can get rare candies, which are probably the best, which are definitely the best. They can get King's Rocks, they can get healing items, they can get revives, which on that note are completely worthless in Nuzlocke challenges. And yeah, so they can pick up some good items. In my most recent Sapphire Nuzlocke, I actually kept a Zigzagoon in my party throughout the entire game, and he actually picked up some really good items. Mainly rare candies that I ended up wasting on a Pokemon that died immediately afterwards. So here, this woman is showing us where the Pokemart is. It was really far away from where she started, you know, walking us there, so I'm really glad she showed us where it was. And she gives us a free potion, which hopefully we won't need. And just to be safe, I do go and grab more potions and stuff, because you can never be too safe in a Nuzlocke challenge, and plus, I don't want to lose to May, basically. The most awkward of pauses. So, yeah, I can't think of anything else I really needed to explain. I'm still kind of glad I'm doing post-commentary, though, just because... I don't know, it's more... I don't want to say it's more convenient, but I don't know, I still do enjoy doing live commentary more, just because it's more fun. Let's see what's up on Route 102. We can't go there, because this guy is inspecting the dirt. Yes, the dirt. So we can't go to Route 102 yet, but we can go to Route 103. Now, if I get through this entire route without encountering a Pokemon, I can come back here later and catch one. But... syncs up perfectly, right? Okay. But unfortunately, I do run into a Pokemon on the first patch of grass, and it was a Zigzagoon. So it would have been nice to, you know, be able to catch that, but whatever. It's not a big problem. We're just gonna scratch at it. How would Torchic, like, I mean, I don't mean to be that guy who always does observational humor, but how would Torchic scratch a Pooch or a Zigzagoon? Like, would it just jump up and kind of turn sideways and scratch it with its feet on its way down? That seems really inconvenient. I think it should, like, shouldn't Torchic just know Peck at the beginning? I think that'd make a lot more sense. So there we go, we killed the Zigzagoon. Good job, Mr. Hugs. And he gets his first level up. God, this is so exciting. This is like the pinnacle of the LP right here. Okay, not really at all. Pokemon games are notorious for starting kind of slowly, but I gotta give them some credit because it does start kind of quickly, at least in comparison to Pokemon Ranger 2, which takes like 2 hours to get into. It's a good game, but the beginning is really slow. So here I actually go and heal my Pokemon. There's this one optional rule where you can only use the Pokemon Center a certain amount of times, like, say 5 times, but I personally don't go by it just because I tried to once, and I just did not feel like keeping track, so, yeah. It's not that it's too challenging, because I am, obviously, hardcore enough to do it, obviously. It's just, I really just really don't feel like keeping track of it. So here we have another Zigzagoon. It's a good thing we didn't run into any shiny Pokemon, because we don't have any Pokeballs, so that kind of suck. I've heard horror stories of people who like run into shiny Pokemon before they get their Pokeballs and they can't catch them. Okay, so... Now, oh yeah, on the note of shiny Pokemon, if I see a shiny, I'm catching it. Screw the rules, I'm just... yeah. I don't even care if a Pokemon faints during that battle. I will do everything in my power to catch it. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. If I do catch it, I'll probably just transfer it to one of my other games, but I don't know, maybe I'll give it away if it's a shiny Nincada or something dumb. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know, I'll just see. If everybody's interested in doing a giveaway, then I might do it. So yeah, Torchic's actually taking quite a bit of damage before we even get to the rival battle. We'll just have to... Actually, I don't even think I bothered to heal him, which is kinda... It's not really risky, because I do have potions, so it hardly even matters. Now, the first rival battle in some of the newer games, especially Platinum, I would say, like, those rival battles are, like, legitimately difficult. Well, not even difficult, just, like, hard, because... like, you don't get to train your Pokemon at all before you challenge them, so it's basically all up to luck if you win or not. Like, of course, you're gonna just spam pound or tackle or whatever it is you get, but, I mean, if they get a crit, they're gonna win, probably. And especially in Platinum, like, if your rival has a Turtwig, they'll just spam Withdraw, and then you really can't win unless you get non-stop crits. So yeah, that's no fun. Now, luckily in this game, they do let you train up your Pokemon a little bit before you challenge May, which I personally like. And of course, she gets a crit. And I figure they only did 7 damage, so I have nothing to worry about if she gets another one. And then she misses, which is pretty lucky. And then the battle's over. That was the most interesting battle ever. God, I'm so proud of Mr. Hugs for doing that. Yeah, I was gonna mention this earlier, but this game starts... Oh yeah, I did mention this earlier. What am I saying? This game starts slow, and Nuzlocke challenges really don't get interesting until later on in the game, once you start actually getting Pokemon, you know? That tends to be the more interesting part. Right, so... I guess the next route that we'll actually be able to encounter Pokemon on will be Route 102, and there are some cool Pokemon we can get there. We can't get a Seedot, unfortunately, because that's only in Ruby, and if we were playing Emerald, it'd be a 1% chance. But instead, for a 1% chance, we can actually get a Surskit, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because I just think it'd be interesting to use a Masquerain. Because I've never seen an LP where somebody's using Masquerain. Masquerain's probably like one of the most forgettable Pokemon, honestly, because it's so hard to get in this game. Right, so what's up here? Okay, nothing too interesting. Just kind of read the text like, yeah, everybody knows this. Like, if you're watching a Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge, you're probably pretty familiar with Pokemon, honestly. I don't feel obliged to read the text, and I know this isn't just me, but when LPers read text in the game, it's just like, okay, that's nice. You're a good voice actor. You can stop now. I don't know. I guess LPers who are like notoriously good voice actors, I guess I don't mind it too much, but whatever. And this is interesting. This guy actually says that Professor Birch studies the habitats of Pokemon, which is interesting, like I said, because one of the main themes of this game is biodiversity. Because the whole land versus sea thing, you know, with Kyogre and Groudon, yeah. So it's kind of interesting how the professor studies, like, biodiversity, just like how the game is kind of all about that. And then, like, the second gen is supposed to be all about mythology, but then for some reason Professor Elm studies evolution for no reason. And then in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, he studies the intricacies of Pokemon following you. Which I never understood that. That's such a dumb theme. Like, I like how Pokemon follow you, but I never understood why they made, like, a big theme in that game. And now we're running, and whenever you get the running shoes in Pokemon games, you feel like you're going at, like, the speed of light. It's great. And on that note, if we were using that rule where the challenge doesn't start until we get our Pokeballs, then I would have caught the Zigzagoon. And look at this! Oh no. It's wait, was this the one where I... Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I guess this is about time for that to happen. We're 18 minutes in. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Every episode's gonna be around 20 minutes, I think. But this first one's about 23, I think, so... Yeah, I'm gonna keep it around 20. I think I'll be uploading every other day. But I don't know, maybe if things go really well and I get a stockpile of videos, I'll upload every day. We'll see. We'll see. And Pokemon XD, on a completely different note, will happen. It's just that... Bless me. I don't want to say this is more fun to record, it's just that... Right now, this is... Like, right now I want to do this. This is more fun to me right now. And XD will happen just later. And for Pokepark, well, I don't know where Pokepark is right now. I really do want to finish it with Pink, or maybe even somebody else who said that they'd be interested in co-commentating, but there are some problems, to say the least, with doing Pokepark right now. Okay, so yeah, I did finally remember to heal my Pokemon, which is a good thing, obviously. Right, so let's see what our encounter is for Route 102. Now we can also get a Ralts at a 4% chance, which would be awesome, but let's see what it is. We got a Wurmple, which is Honestly, probably the worst thing we could have gotten. I don't know, you could argue that Poochyena would be worse, just because it's weak to the second gym leader, whereas both Dustox and Beautyfly are resistant to the second gym leader. And I'm focused on the second gym leader especially, because the second gym leader is notoriously difficult in this game. They actually kind of nerfed him in Emerald. Like, they lowered the level of one of his Pokemon, and in return they gave him a new Pokemon, but this new Pokemon is really easy to take care of. So yeah, they basically nerfed him. Now, I'm not trying to name all my Pokemon after foods or anything, but I just thought that Lollipop was a good name for Wurmple. I don't know why. I was just kind of looking at my desk and I thought, oh hey, that's a Lollipop. I should call him Lollipop. It's a good name. I think actually, okay, good. It doesn't take me that long to come up with the names, because later on it takes me a really long time to come up with names. So yeah, like I was saying, I'm not trying to have any theme of what to call my Pokemon. I just, you know, whatever. So yeah, we're gonna fight some more trainers, and then we'll be done for the episode. So let's see, what else? Just trying to think of whatever else I need to talk about real quick in these last 3 minutes. I will not be using any restrictions on items. Like, I'll be using held items, I'll be using healing items, things like that. There's only one legendary that you actually have to fight in this game, and that's Kyogre, and I will be killing that, unless it's shiny, but I'll not be using any Mercy rules, because that's for scrubs, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry if I called you a scrub, I didn't mean it, I didn't mean to get political. Now, there's one optional rule here that says that you have to release your starter as soon as you get a new Pokemon, and that's an interesting rule, I think, because in my Sapphire Nuzlocke, the only reason I beat the Elite Four was because of my starter. So I'm not sure if I would have been able to win without my Torchic in that one. It's kind of an interesting rule, because the starter really is, like, I don't want to say it's overpowered, but it's really easy to just rely on your starter throughout the entire game, and that's kind of lame. It kind of goes against the spirit of Nuzlocke, which is just to use unique Pokemon that you wouldn't really use before, and just kind of to encourage like a storyline of sorts. Like you see a lot of Nuzlocke comics that are all about kind of storylines. I've personally never really read any of them, but they do look interesting. Sorry, I kind of needed to take a breather there, because I have been talking for like 22 minutes straight. You have to understand, my life is very hard when I have to talk for 22.5 minutes. Yeah, you can tell this series is going to be interesting when I have to resort to talking about the fact that I've been talking for so long. Whatever, it should be fun. This is going to be a great video, or a great series about me being scatterbrained, about Nuzlocke challenges, and having my Pokemon not die, hopefully. It'll be a grand old time. I'll slur my words, I'll stutter, I'll do everything that an LPer should not. It'll be a grand old, jolly, good old, dang-ass time. And I have nothing else to say. I was kind of hoping the video would end there, but it didn't. So let's see, what else is there to talk about? This is so awkward. I don't know, I guess let's talk about colors. No, I think I did that in another episode. Let's see, I thought of something. I saw something really interesting that I could talk about, but then I forgot it. Darn it. Let's talk about Scratch again. How does Torchic scratch Pokemon? Okay. I'm not that desperate for things to talk about. I'd rather just go silent than just repeat myself, honestly. Tailo, I kind of hope we get a Tailo later on, actually, just because in my Sapphire Nuzlocke, I use a Tailo, and it was surprisingly helpful. Like, you wouldn't think it'd be able to take hits from anything later on in the game, but it can pretty well, so... Swallow is surprisingly good in this game. And on that note, the episode is just about over. After the most awkward ending sequence ever, and next time, we're going to get these berries!